Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. For those of you new here, my name is Donna, and for those of you not new, thank you so much for continuing to come back and support my channel. I appreciate you guys so very much. Today we're doing the next installment in my Palette Roulette series. This is number 52, which means, you guys, we have been doing this for a full year now. I have had an immense amount of fun with it. This last Palette Roulette we used 2 palettes because the first one we pulled only had 6 shades and I really felt like I was going to need to dip into another palette. And because we've been doing this for a full year and we still have so many palettes to go through. As I continue to do this, I get a little more traction on these videos. You guys, I have so much fun with these videos and love really digging in and learning more about the palettes that are in my collection, and really hope that you guys are enjoying it too. Don't forget to give it a big thumbs up if you are enjoying it. Give it a thumbs down if you're not. That way it gives me some kind of insight as to what we're enjoying watching. Today, Palette Roulette episode 52, we're going over 2 palettes. We're going over the Tarte Graveyard Girl Swamp Queen palette, which is a really old palette in my collection and a really old palette overall, and I don't even think it's for sale anymore. I could be wrong on that. And the Better London Natural Goddess palette that came in a BoxyCharm. It was made in collaboration with BoxyCharm and Better London for a BoxyCharm box that they were doing, but it is also for sale on many different websites. I am going to jump into the Tarte Graveyard Girl Swamp Queen palette first. So you guys will note that the exterior of the palette is kind of like wooden looking, and it does have a nice like alligator on the front of it. It almost looks like a wooden box with an alligator burnt into it, like wood burning skills burnt into it. The lettering on the palette is like gold leafing. This is of course a collaboration between Tarte and Bunny, who is Graveyard Girl here on YouTube. This palette originally was for sale for $45. It has 0.64 ounces of product in it. It came out in 2016. It does have a decent sized mirror. I think mine might be actually I was told when I purchased it that it was an original, but I think mine might actually be not an original because A, the quality of it is really crappy, and B, it doesn't have the words on the mirror that the original one came in. I think the original one said something on the mirror like believe in yourself or something like that. So it took me really actually diving into this palette this week to realize that I think I have a knockoff. I did get it in a, so when I long story here, when I first started my channel, I didn't really know what I was doing with makeup, didn't really have a huge makeup collection, really wanted to get some makeup into my collection that that I could use and review and just use because I didn't have much. And so I purchased a bundle off eBay, and I will never do that again, and I haven't done it since. I purchased 2. One of them came to me that was from a supposed working makeup artist in California who sent me like a Smashbox palette and a bunch of other things, and none of which in that box I loved, and it was $39 and the worst $39 I'd ever spent in my life. I did get a like not for resale, so sample size Bobbi Brown foundation in that was awful. I got a Smashbox Cover Shot palette in Cabana that I hated. I think I actually have a Palette Roulette with that palette, I believe. I got an eye pencil that had glitter in it. I got just a bunch of sample size that worst $39 I've ever spent in my life. This one was in a bundle that I got for also roughly the same amount of money. I think it was also $39, but it came with this palette, and another palette, which I have since decluttered because I didn't like it. And it came with all kinds of stuff, like all kinds of stuff. But the lady told me that she sent all the product in 2 separate shipments and sent me tracking information for the one. And then when I continued to try and get a hold of her to get the tracking information for the other one, because I continuously was not getting the box, I never got it. And then she ghosted herself off of eBay. So that is my eBay story. Don't do it. Don't do it. Just don't buy makeup. Anyways, long story short, I'm pretty sure that this is not the right Swamp Queen palette. The reason why I can say that is because I don't like Tarte shadows at all, really. I mean, I have the Tarte Pro and the Remix one, and so far I've not touched the Remix, and I do love the Tarte Pro. But as far as Tarte shadows go, they're not my favorite. They're not my favorite shadows. These ones performed horribly. Horribly. And the ones that are supposed to be shimmers are not shimmers. The ones that are, they just, I mean, it's an older palette, I get that, but it's got this weird, like, look to it. I don't know if you guys can see that. So anyways, long story short, I hated this palette. There are 12 shades in here, 3 of which are supposed to be face shades and 9 of which are eye shades. These are super dusty. The pigmentation is just not there. I will say that this one is pretty pigmented. I did use it as a blush one day on my face. This is not what it looks like in the original palette. The original palette is actually kind of a rosy peachy color. Yeah, that's not what this is. This is a highlight in the original palette, and this is what this shade looks like on my, I mean, you guys, there's no shimmer in that whatsoever, and you can't even see it. Can you see it now? Yeah. But there's no shimmer in it. I mean, I guess, maybe, but it looks more satin than it does shimmer. So, incidentally, I didn't like this palette. I mean, I've got it on my eyes today. It is, you know, a good majority of what is in my eye look today. I think the only color I pulled out of the Butter London palette today was like a darker brown to really deepen up this, you know, crease color. After I cut the crease, and I feel stupid right now because this has been in my collection for like 2 years at this point, and how did I not know? How did I not know? So I would tell you that typically in the regular palette, Sweet Tea is the bronzer shade, and it does have a little bit of shimmer in it. This one liked to pretend it had shimmer in it. This one is called Does This Thing Really Work? It's a pink blush that really performed more like a red, actually, than it does a pink. Another telltale sign that this is not the right palette. And then we have Gator Wings, which is the highlight that's not really a highlight. So as far as the rest of the shadows go, they're very much the same tone, kind of mauve, kind of brown, kind of orange-esque. This one I used almost every single day as a color to lay down over the top of a primer. This one I used almost every single day as a brow bone shade, just because it's the lightest shade. It was also supposed to be shimmery. And that's the other telltale sign that this is not the palette I thought it was, is the shimmers here they're not shimmers. It does appear that they are oversprayed. I'm wondering if you'll be able to see that. And this one here is supposed to have like glitter in it, and it definitely doesn't. It's just chunkiness of chunkiness, but I'm not even going to swatch these. This is a horrible palette, and I am going to give it to my 8-year-old daughter because she absolutely loves it, and I'm under the impression that this is a fake. You know what's really daunting about that is that There is nothing about this palette except for the things that I know now because I've been in beauty for so long. Had I picked this up and really dug into it 2 years ago when I first got it, I would not really even guess that this was a fake. I would never have guessed that, but I'm just shocked. I'm just shocked. So, and you know, it's one of the only palettes that I've had that I've not purchased myself in a store or on their online website. So I'm happy to say that is probably it should be definitely the only fakery that I have in my collection. But I'm still just disappointed in me for not really recognizing that fact. But if I have to be honest, I think I've maybe picked this palette up 3 times in the 2 years I've owned it. So it's not really a palette that I really want to dive into anyways. But the original, all the reviews I have seen on it says that it is a really good palette. People especially like Gator Wings, which is the highlight, not highlight in this palette, but the highlight in the Swamp Queen original palette. And the original Swamp Queen palette has a 4.7 star review with over 3,000 reviews on it on the Tarte website. So let's dig into the Butter London one. This is the Butter London Natural Goddess palette. I especially really like the fact that it's kind of got this wood look to it as well. And these look like they could be stickers or hand-painted flowers, which I think is really, really pretty. This has 7.5 grams of product or 0.26 ounces, and there are 6 shades in it. It does have a nice mirror, and the 6 shades in it really do go together nicely. It is a $32 palette. Butter London is cruelty-free. This was a limited edition palette. Like I said, made in conjunction with BoxyCharm for BoxyCharm, but it is for sale on multiple websites. You can still find it. I really loved this palette. I know that my friend Nona did say in last week's video in the comments that she really didn't get on with it. And, you know, that's subjective. Makeup is going to be whatever it is for everybody. Everybody's going to have a different opinion. I'm not saying I absolutely loved this palette. One of the biggest reasons why maybe it wouldn't be my favorite one is because of the color scheme to it. But I didn't have any problems with it, and it actually is really beautiful. What I will say is this blue, I don't really feel like is a blue that was necessary in this palette. I think we could have done with, you know, like maybe a mauve or a rosy toned color that was also a matte. I think that would have went better with the shades that we do have here. But it's a really pretty palette. It does have 3.8 stars on the Ulta website, but it's only got 19 reviews. So I'm not certain that 3.8 is a really good legitimate 3.8. They are super silky. They are pretty pigmented. Their longevity is amazing. This one's longevity was crap, but if it's a fake, that would be why. Well, it is a fake. That would be why its longevity is crap. I took a picture of an eye look that I did with almost solely this eyeshadow palette this week, and then took another picture at the end of my day. And granted, let it be known that I put my eyeshadows on around 6:30 every single morning, if not earlier, because that is what time I get up and get ready and get going for work. And the picture that I took at the end of the day was at 10 p.m. when I took my makeup off. So it had been on my face for 16 hours. And I will go ahead and put all 3 of those pictures here so that you guys can see the difference in the shadows from when I put it on to when I took it off. Like, I didn't see a whole lot of difference. There was a little bit, obviously, a little bit of fading, a little bit of like transferring of the shadows, but otherwise the longevity of this is on par. And that was with primer. With primer, shadows are going to tend to last longer. Without primer, it still did rather well. The one that I would say didn't really do super great unless you really packed it on is this brown tone. It looks very, very, very brown in the palette, but it kind of shears out as you're putting it on. So I did, as you're blending it out, I should say. So I did pack it on, blend it a little bit, pack it on, blend it a little bit. I would do it in, you know, stages, because that's how you deal with shadows that are like that. It was the only real deep shade that I had out of the two palettes. So it was a shadow that I used often in my looks over the last 2 weeks, because these shadows, even though it does appear that we have, you know, quite a few deeper shades in here, like this one, and maybe even, you know, this one a little bit, they just weren't as pigmented as they showed up in here, because it's fake. So I'm so pissed off about that. I hate being duped. I just, like, why do people do that? It just makes me so mad. I am going to swatch these ones for you, because I do know that this is an actual palette. It is a genuine Butter London palette. This is the first time I had tried Butter London shadows. I do have a jelly shadow from them, or a glaze and eye gloss, I think it's called. Love it. And I have some nail polishes from them, but this is the first time I've actually tried one of their powder formula eyeshadows, and I really did get along with it really well. This one is called Enchantress, and it is just a really pretty shimmering sand color. It was a shade that I used often in my brow bone. It's also a shade that I used all over the lid at one point in time. It's just a really pretty color. Look at it on my finger. So pretty. It's kind of got this like champagne-y feel to it, only maybe a little more golden. The next one is Queen, and it is actually described as a shimmering copper. I find that it looks a little more pink on the eye. It is actually in my eye look today, right in here, along the edge of that. Let me get up close so you guys can see it. So it is actually this shade right in here, and it really just performs more like a pink. So, so, so pretty. Then we have this one, which is Star, and it is a metallic green. It's like kind of like a mossy green, or a like almost minty green. Oh, so pretty. I did an eye look with it and the blush in the Swamp Queen palette, and I looked like I was wearing watermelon eyes. Which, I mean, I'm not mad at it. It was a pretty look. I enjoyed it, but this shade here is Star, and it is, I mean, Diva. And it is a metallic gold color. All right. So those are the 4 shimmers. And that is, again, Enchantress, Queen, Star, and Diva. And then we have the 2 mattes. And the 2 mattes, there's one brown matte and one blue matte. And they are Temptress, which is that brown, and Femme Fatale, which is that blue. And I just don't really, I mean, you guys tell me, I just don't really think that that blue really goes with the other shades in the palette. But it is what it is. And that brown, as you guys can see, is a little bit like, imagine that like buffed in and really blended. It just kind of shears itself out a little bit. It starts off really nice. Just kind of shears itself out a little bit, so you really have to pack it in and blend it, and pack it and blend it, and then pack it and blend it. I'm not mad at this palette. I really actually kind of liked it. So, surprising to me, this palette is going to be staying in my collection, and this one will be leaving. So there's that. Sometimes I hate that my lighting is the way it is. I can't ever get it right, and sometimes I feel like it's too white, I'm gonna have to dig into my camera and figure out how to change that. But like today I'm uber happy because I have a zit right on the tip of my nose. And it hurts so bad. Now, I never get zits I never get zits. But I dang sure don't get blemishes or pimples right on the end of my nose. Like, what? Where did that come from? And the only thing I can think of is I'm using a new moisturizer because I ran out of the moisturizer that I was using. So I'm using IT Cosmetics Confidence in a Cream, and I've heard that for some people it causes acne issues. I don't have acne, but like pimples. It causes pimples. I also have one right here. Like what? Why? I never, ever have pimples. It drives me nuts. I am going to choose another palette. I do have a Samsung Note 9 for those of you who are not familiar with my channel. And I did go to an app in our Play Store and pick kind of a Wheel of Fortune like decision app. So it just is a big wheel. You put all of your palettes or whatever you want it to choose from into this wheel, name the wheel, and then spin the wheel to choose things. As I get new palettes in, I put them in to my wheel, and as we use palettes, I do take them out of my wheel. So we have 62 palettes left. I'm embarrassed to say. So we've got at least another year of this. I am having fun with it, so I'm okay with that. And I got a message from somebody not that long ago. I was really super excited about it though, because here I am, my little tiny baby channel, 530 subscribers, which I'm so grateful for. I'll probably never reach 1,000, never reach 10,000, certainly never reach more than that. And I have made a new group of friends, and one of them wants to do this same type of video, which I was just so flattered about. I didn't make this type of video. Obviously, you guys can see down in my description bar who inspired me to do this video, but to be an inspiration for somebody else to create content on their channel is just so heartwarming to me. I don't know why. It just is. And I was like, yes, of course, the more the merrier. Please do it. How awesome that I've inspired you to create some new content on your channel. I was really flattered. So anyways, here's my wheel. It is just, I named it Palette a Week because that is what we're doing here. I have all the palettes that I still have remaining in here, and I am going to go ahead and spin this wheel. And we have the Natasha Denona Sunset palette, which I am excited for because this palette screams fall to me. I'll be right back. Alright guys, this is the Natasha Denona Sunset palette. I'm super excited about this. This is a very new palette to my collection. I think I purchased it the last Sephora VIB sale that they had, which they seem to be having all the time these days. It was on sale for $99 at that point in time, and then I got the 20% off because I'm Rouge. So I ended up getting this palette for a pretty dang good, decent price for Natasha Denona. This is what the palette looks like inside. Of course, her palettes have this little, film on them, and then this is the palette. I'm actually really dang excited to use this palette. It reminds me of fall. Everything about it reminds me of fall. I love Natasha Denona shadows. So that will be my palette for next week. I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please do not forget to give it a big thumbs up or a thumbs down if you didn't like it. That, as always, helps us out here in YouTube Nation. I also hope that you liked me or you liked my content enough that you're considering subscribing to my channel. If you subscribe to my channel, please don't forget to hit the bell so that you're notified every single time I upload. I do upload content every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday or Sunday, depending on my work week and what's going on in my work life. I know this last week I uploaded on Sunday instead of Friday. Sometimes I do throw a few extra bonus videos in there as well, and I would be excited to see you down in the comments section, have you a part of my crazy midlife crisis YouTube fam. Thank you so much for joining us today, and until next time, guys, bye. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. For those of you new here, my name is Donna, and for those today we are doing an adjustment of my bra. Yep. I feel like I have a bug. I felt like I had a bug. Maybe it was just a hair off my crazy head.